This morning we will be taking our conversation to a different area. This week we've been talking about change, changing your attitude, changing your lifestyle. You often say change is good, but this morning we're going to look at something that doesn't seem to want to change in America. And for my international viewers, please bear with us. This morning I want to look at something that you just don't seem to want to change. Something we just don't want to change, and something we just don't want to make different. And now, more than ever, it's becoming more acceptable. It's becoming more okay. When we think about it, the more okay this is becoming. Yesterday, Roseanne Barr made a mention of something. Roseanne Barr made a mention, put a tweet up. As a result, she lost the show. The show was canceled, affecting the lives of everyone who works on the show. The premise of the text or the tweet, which I won't go into, touched on something. She made mention to someone in reference to something that is very derogatory towards African Americans. So we often wonder if life will ever get different, it will ever be better. We often think to ourselves, we have been going through these things for so long. We've been experiencing these things for so long. When on earth is all of this going to end? What if I told you that none of this is going to stop? What if I told you that even though we want for these things to change, and even though we want for these things to get better, and even though we want for life to get back to a happier place, that's not going to happen? What if I told you that there was no end in sight? What if I told you that hate is going to continue in this world? That hate's going to keep picking up steam? What if I told you that hate is going to fuel people of power? What if I told you that there was no goodness that was going to come out of this? You would say that I'm not optimistic. I don't have my eyes to the horizon. I'm not looking at for the best of in people. I'm not looking for the good things. It's been a long time. Get over it. This morning, we are going to take a look at change what's accepted. Change what's accepted. Let's pray. Father God, we'd like to thank you for waking us up this morning. We'd like to thank you for giving us and granting us this opportunity this morning to hear your voice and to read your words. I ask you, Lord, that as we open up this dialogue, I pray that you will keep our emotions in check, keep my emotions in check. Ask you, Lord, to help me to look at this from a objective perspective. And help us, Lord, that at the end of this conversation, at the end of this devotion, we will understand just a little bit more how we can be more and more like you. And we can say yes to love and no to hate. In Christ's name. America has been known for years for its racism. America has been known for years for its racism. Every Black History Month, we're reminded of the things that we used to learn in grade school, in my school. In my school, I remember we used to learn about Roots. We should sit and watch Roots for the entire month. We would understand the struggles that African Americans had to face. We would listen to the recounts of their hard times, of their struggles. We would literally sit and listen to tape after tape after tape about what was going on back then. What was the issues back then? And yet, it was very uncomfortable at times. People were uncomfortable talking about this because it wasn't something that was so pleasant. It wasn't something that was enjoyable. Nobody wanted to enjoy watching. Melly Wade, how you doing this morning? Good to see you. Loyal guy. Good to see you, Tom. See, it was uncomfortable. People didn't want to listen to that. People didn't want to go into that because it wasn't something that anybody wanted to remember. And for the Caucasian kids that was in our class, oh, that was a very difficult time for them because they are in the middle of what is about to happen, of what's going on. See, the young Black kids are getting riled up because they're seeing all the things that used to happen to Black people. And we're saying to ourselves, oh, that ain't going to happen to us now. Yeah, that ain't going to happen to us now. We ain't going to see no white person take us down like that. Now we're going to fight back. You know, and I remember it as if it was yesterday. We were in the 3rd grade and we watched that. And I used to walk home with a friend of mine. No, not the 3rd grade. It was 7th grade. We're going to say it was 7th grade. We watched Roots, and I was literally walking home with a friend. And I walk home with this friend every single day because he literally lived up the street from me. And I liked him. I genuinely liked him. Because back in my day, well, not back in my day, I never saw color in an individual. And to this day, I still don't see color. I see the character of the person. So we're sitting there, we're talking, we're laughing, we're walking and all that stuff. And then 2 of my friends from grade school, 2 of my friends that I knew from when I was small, when I was young, they showed up. And they started saying, you know, we don't like you walking in our neighborhood, especially because of your people and what your people did to our people. And they stepped to him. And my friend, you know, he was overweight. He wasn't like some fighter or anything like that. He said, listen, I just want to go home. That's it. And they rolled up on him. And they tried to beat him up. They started pushing him. They moved me out the way. They said, yo, Sams, we don't got no beef with you, man. We knew you, yo, we like brothers. We ain't got no beef with you. We got the beef with him. And I would say, nah, man, let him go. Don't hurt him. You respect me. You understand me. You love me and everything like that. Don't beat him up. So they started pushing him, punching him. And I had to jump in the way like, yo, man, don't let it go. Let it go. He didn't do nothing. Eventually, they let it go. But it wasn't until my friend felt the hatred and felt powerless to do anything about it. And I remember I was walking with him. I said, yo, man, you okay? He said, no, I'm not okay. He said, I understand. I get how you feel. I get that you feel powerless in a land where you're supposed to have an opportunity to feel like an equal, where you're living in a land where you should feel like you have the privilege of becoming something greater than what you are right now. I get it. I understand that because I'm white, I'm going to get all the privilege without even working hard. And you're black. So you're not going to get the privileges so easily. You're going to have to prove yourself and work hard. That afternoon, I should say, we parted ways and I started to understand. It wasn't like I wasn't exposed to hate. I've been exposed to hate my entire life from the time I was young. My parents used to live in a predominantly white town. We lived in apartment buildings. My father worked at a gunsmith shop. My mother, she was a manager at McDonald's when they first started out. And as time progressed, I remember my mother was told this man was upset at the way that his burger was made, so he was complaining. My mother stepped and said, "Sir, what seems to be the problem?" And he told my mother, "Go find the manager." My mother said, "I am the manager." He said, "No, no black woman is going to be a manager of this McDonald's. Go call the regional manager. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I ain't talking to nobody unless they are white and in charge." That's what this guy said. And my mother, she's from the Caribbean, so she has that Caribbean feisty blood in her. My mother simply said, "The only person you're going to talk to is me. And if you don't like that, leave this burger, leave these fries. You see that door? Walk right out. There's another McDonald's 5 miles up the road. You can go there. But what you're not going to do is disrespect me, disrespect my employee, because you didn't like the way they made your burger. They make your burger just like they make everybody else's burger." And after that conversation, my mother said that the man stormed out, didn't pay for the food. And the young cashier was there trembling of fear. Mother said, "Don't worry about it. You did a good job. Just get back to work." My father was talked down to daily by his supervisor because his supervisor had more experience, more education. So he used to talk down to my father. My father had to take it because he had to make money to put food on the table. He would be called all types of names, and my father just all he could do was smile about it. As much as my father had a voice on him, had a way he talked. When my father talks, you listen. And my father was going to say something, but he chose not to. He chose not to say something because he didn't want to lose the opportunity that was given to him. And for a lot of us, that seems to be the answer. We don't say anything for hate because we don't want to lose out on the opportunity. We don't want to question anything because we don't want to miss out on that opportunity. And because we don't want to miss out on our opportunity, because we don't want to lose out on our opportunity, we keep our mouths shut. Proverbs 10 verse 12 says, hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all defense. We live in a country where it seems to be filling up with more hatred. The things that used to be unacceptable 30, 40 years ago are now becoming acceptable. It's acceptable for police to use excessive force if the perp is being uncooperative. And it doesn't matter how old that person is. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with a police officer, commenting on a video that we saw of a young girl, 19, that was drinking. She was underage. The police officers targeted her because she was underage. They were going to arrest her, as opposed to the person who brought the liquor to the beach. So she was clearly belligerent. I don't know if she was drunk in this video, but the girl was clearly belligerent. And these police officers, which was three of them, three grown men, and this girl had to be no more than maybe 90, 100 pounds, 19 years old. She was getting blows. When I mean blows, they were punching her, had their knee on her neck, and this one police officer started to give her rabbit punches. If you know anything about rabbit punches are the punches that are illegal in boxing because it can sever the cerebellum or it can even cause instant death if struck the right way, with the right speed, with the right force. You can kill somebody instantly with a rabbit punch. And I'm seeing this police officer, her head is in the sand, and he's giving her rabbit punches in the back of her head. And I'm sitting there watching this, and then I asked the question, is this becoming acceptable? The police officer who commented back on me said, yes, in fact, I would have hit her harder. And I'm sitting there listening to this, and I'm saying to myself, this is the norm. This is the norm. It is normal for a police officer to use excessive force if they call it necessary, and for them to just physically fight someone. You see, when I was listening to this, when I was watching the video and I was reading the comments, I was saying to myself, so you mean to tell me that the police officers who are trained to disarm a perp, trained to take down or to put power, pain holds on people to demobilize them. You mean to tell me that if all that fails, that you should just straight out fight the person until the person is down? And then you don't have a one-on-one. It's not even a fair fight if you think about it. It's not a fair fight because the two of them are going head to head. Maybe the perp is belligerent and they don't want to be arrested, so they're swinging. Either way you look at it, the perp is wrong. Once the police are involved and the police say you're under arrest, you have to comply. Simple. But in this case, they were fighting and everything. And there was three of them against one. So you mean to tell me that three police officers can fight the one person, and that is acceptable in society? If the person is to fight back, then the officers will pull their guns and shoot that person dead. Whatever happened to a fair trial? Whatever happened to due process? Growing up, I was always told that you did something wrong and the police show up. When you're arrested, you're supposed to go in peace. If you're belligerent, the police officers have the right to then evoke force. But the cases that we've seen, where we've seen officers put bare naked strangleholds on people larger than them, tasing people after having a conversation. And then after all of that stuff is done, all you hear is, oh, we're sorry. The police officers are being disciplined. What does that even mean? We have a celebrity who thought that she could just say whatever she wanted because she had the range and she had the support and backing of the president. So yeah, I can say whatever I want to say on social media, and y'all gonna have to take it because this is who I am. When I found out that she got her show canceled, you don't know how happy I was. Because I was saying to myself, it's because of rhetoric like this where people are going to start to believe it's okay. And if ABC didn't cancel her show, then people would have thought it was okay. It's okay to call African Americans apes. It's okay to be Islamophobic. It's okay to do these things. See, we are living in a society where people are saying that it is okay for us to do the things that we're doing, to say the things that we're saying, and it's okay because that's just where society is. Hate doesn't change its color because society decided to. Hate doesn't change its color because of the fact that we are no longer in the 1800s. Hate doesn't change its colors, just like a leopard can't change its stripes. Hate is always present, it's only covered up in different ways. So as I'm sitting there watching this, talking to this police officer, also watching the news coverage, I started to realize just how much hate is in this world. It's not like I didn't know it before, but I need you to understand, in order to combat hate, you have to change what's accepted. You have to change the type of conversation you're having. You have to change what we consider to be okay, what we consider to be acceptable. Because telling people that they look like apes is not acceptable. H&M had a shirt where it says the coolest monkey in the jungle. And it was a little black boy that was wearing it. The mother saw nothing wrong with this because the mother's from, I believe the mother was from Europe. So she probably wasn't exposed to this type of rhetoric, to this type of talk. But here in America, we're used to that. We're used to that type of talk. We're used to being called apes, being called animals by Caucasians. Ever since that time, which was last year sometime, I have not shopped at H&M. And I am a person that shopped at H&M. H&M, I had to have been their best customer because I was literally buying stuff in H&M every single week. Most of my wardrobe still is H&M. But they have not gotten any money out of my pocket for the last year. And it's because I wanted to take a stand and boycott something that I didn't believe in. Starbucks. I never went to Starbucks from before, and I don't plan to now. Yesterday, they took the afternoon, a Tuesday afternoon off. Not a Tuesday morning, their busiest time of the day, because they're most busy in the morning. We all know this. They took the afternoon off to do some sensitive training, understanding how their words are being used, understanding if they are undercover racists. Mandatory. I wonder if it was paid. You see, there is a change, however, coming, where people cannot just say whatever they want to say and get away with it. They can't just do whatever they want to do and get away with it. See, it's becoming more and more prominent that when you do something that is considered to be racist, and if it's caught on camera, that people will expose you, and you could lose sponsorships. You could lose a lot if you say nothing to it. But it's interesting that companies have to make these changes instantly to protect their customers and to protect their business. But we have a president who can do the same thing and not lose a voter. They said yesterday he had a rally where he brought up everything but what happened to Roseanne. And that was supposedly his buddy. Some people choose to see hate and they look the other way. Some people see hate and they expose it. What are you doing here today? How are you combating hate? How are you going to change what's acceptable? Are you going to pull out your phone when you see people fighting? When you see people arguing? Are you going to pull out your phone and say World Star and record the entire thing, hoping that your video goes viral, hoping that you make a little bit of change off of it? Or are you going to be the one to step in and to break up the scuffle? Are you going to be the one to educate those who are doing these things? Hey, listen, man, the cameras are rolling. You guys are looking like animals, and that's what people are going to tell and say about you. Yeah, I understand you have a beef. You have a frustration. Handle it a different way, because you are not helping the rhetoric that is being spoken about us. See, I remember when I was younger and I used to go out. I used to go out with my buddies all the time, and we would go out. We would dress. We used to call it fly. You know, we didn't sag. We wore baggy pants. We wore matching kicks that matched our shirt, fitteds that matched our shirt. You know, we tried to go out there and dress the part. But even though we dressed the part, we looked no different from those who were actually doing the harm in the world. We looked no different because guess what? Our skin colors matched. So automatically people had a certain perception about us. And it wasn't like we could have just said, no, I'm not that type of person. Please don't make that assumption about me. It wasn't like we could say that because guess what? People will make assumptions of you whether you are in a good spirit or not. People will make assumptions of you based on the color of your skin. People might look at a white person and say, man, this person is racist. And you don't even know that person. People might look at a black person and say, man, this is a criminal. And you don't even know that person. See, this is what is the problem in society. We need to change what's accepted. It is accepted to make those assumptions about white people. It's accepted to make those assumptions about black people. It's accepted to make those assumptions that the Mexicans who are in our country is actually immigrants. It's acceptable to make those assumptions. The other day I saw a meme of the Statue of Liberty pointing away, saying, if you don't like our customs, if you don't like our laws, then you can get out. And I'm sitting there looking at this and I'm like, and I had to comment on it. I said, bro, I understand this is how you feel about immigration. I get that, but don't change or don't support a meme that uses the Statue of Liberty as a way to say get out of the country if you don't like that. That's not what the Statue of Liberty stands for. Statue of Liberty stands for to bring in everyone who is afflicted from their other country, who didn't have the shot or an opportunity to come to the land of opportunities. That's what America used to be, the land of opportunity. A land where people can have the opportunity to do something with their lives, to be better individuals, to be great people. That is what the land of opportunity was all about. That's what America was supposed to represent. But unfortunately, we lost our way. And all I could hear is protecting our borders, stopping people from coming in. And then all I could think about is, you know what? If the Native Americans in this country protected their borders, you wouldn't be here either. I wouldn't be here either. Some of us don't want to change what's accepted. This is America. It is what it is. This is how life is going to be. Life is not going to change. So why bother try to make it change? It's not going to change. Why try to make a difference in America? Who are you benefiting by trying to make a difference? Who are you helping by trying to make a difference? That's where we are right now. What's the point of making a difference when things are not going to change? Things are not going to get better. And things won't get better. This world is coming to an end and things are going to start to get worse before it starts to get better. The Bible says that we are going to see things that we have never seen in the history of this earth. We are going to see signs, wars and rumors of wars. Nation shall rise against nation, kingdoms against kingdoms, children having children, fathers against their sons, earthquakes in diverse places. Hawaii is literally on fire. Hawaii is literally on fire right now. We had a storm season last year that was devastating. Reports are just coming out that the people of Puerto Rico, the island of Puerto Rico, has at least close to 5,000 confirmed dead as a result of this hurricane that hit them last year. And guess what? Hurricane season is getting ready to kick up and start again. And people still don't have electricity. People still don't have electricity in their homes. When I see these things and when I observe these things, I can only imagine how far are we going to go? How far can we really take this? How far can we really be exposed? How much are we willing to push? How much are we going to be okay with? How much times are we going to just say, it's all right, let it pass? Some things you can't let pass. Hate stirs up strife. That is the problem in America. That is the problem in this world. Hate is what stirs up strife. People are suffering. People are going through hardship each and every day because of the things that are going on around us, the things that are constantly happening, the things that are continuously becoming the norm. And when things start to become the norm, then it's very hard for you to break away from it because it becomes normal to you. It becomes normal to you. When things become normal to you, then you don't see things from a different angle. You don't see things from a different perspective because everything is continually looking the same. Everything is becoming worse and worse and worse. 1 John 3, verse 15, everyone who hates his brother is a murderer, and you know that no murderers has eternal life abiding in him. As Christians, we have to go with the flow of society. We have to go with what we understand society to be. We understand society will get worse. We understand society will become a hard place to live. We understand that society will not get better. But we don't have to accept the things that go on now in this world and just say that it's okay. We don't have to accept it. We don't have to say it's all right. We don't have to give that stamp of approval. We don't have to say because of the fact that the person in the main office of the presidency can say the things that he wants to say and that's okay. It's not okay. When people are saying these things on their social media and they're saying, no, it's cool, that's not okay. None of that is okay. But yet still, it's becoming acceptable. I need you to understand that this is not acceptable. We can't allow these things to be acceptable, because once they start to be acceptable, they become normalized. And when they become normalized, then we don't see the difference between what's wrong and what's right. It's right to have a freedom of speech. It's wrong to say whatever you want to say because you have freedom of speech. And as a result, Roseanne doesn't have a show anymore. As a result, people have been fired, suspended, because of the things that come out of their mouth. Every morning, I come on here and I do a morning devotion just to give you some encouragement for your day. In August, I would have been doing this for about a year. And I enjoy every moment of it. It's very rare that I have a chance to sleep in bed till 8 o'clock because I'm awake to give the word. I know in the summer that is going to get, it's not going to get difficult for me to do. But the way my job is set up, I don't have to, I may have to just be prepared, more prepared and stuff. This morning's devotion has been about changing what's accepted. It's not acceptable for you to just say the things that you want to say and then expect for it to be okay. It's not acceptable for you to make a judgment about a group of people and call the police. It's not acceptable for a police officer to feel the need to beat someone up because they're not being compliant. It's not acceptable that people could take up guns freely, walk into a school, and shoot up a bunch of people. That's not acceptable. But guess what's happening? It's becoming normal. I will never forget while the last shooting that took place. One of the students was talking to the news, and she literally said, "We knew it was going to happen. It was only a matter of time." For you to say that, you have normalized something that should have been taken care of when the first time it ever happened. But here in America, we have our priorities wrong. See, other countries, when they experience something like this, they do a whole bunch of things to their laws, to their system to change people being able to obtain these things. Here in America, because we have an amendment that says the right to bear arms, people hold true to that amendment. Oh, if you take that away, you have to take away all the amendments. And I guess you're right, because all the amendments, in some way or another, they do provoke and they do exhibit harmfulness. But a person's freedom of speech has, I don't want to say have less effect, less immediate effect as a person who has a gun. But it's becoming normal. And every time we see another shooting at a school, and every time we see another teacher had died or another student had died, all I can see is people just saying, well, that don't mean we got to take away the guns. Really? It's the 10th one this year. We're not even halfway into the year yet. It's the 10th one, but yet still, no, don't worry about it. We got to protect our rights. We got to protect our rights to bear arms. We got to protect our rights of our forefathers. Yet our forefathers didn't have to worry about these type of shootings. Our forefathers didn't have to worry about these type of people that's walking around with guns, people who are mentally disabled walking around with guns. Our ancestors or forefathers in this country didn't have to deal with it. But they wanted everyone to have a right to own one, to have one. You also have the right to be educated on it. Everybody has a right to get a license, but not everybody needs to be behind the wheel of a car. Everybody deserves to go to school, but not everybody is willing to utilize their education and to use their education to what they've learned. Everybody has the right to bear arms, whoever is a citizen in this country, but that doesn't mean that you need to have a gun. This country is growing and learning, and people are becoming more receptive to the things that are wrong. I'm so glad that they took a stand to cancel Roseanne, because everything that was said in that tweet spoke to the person. And even though this person has had a history of doing these things, I remember I watched this video of her singing the national anthem, out of tune, off beat, reckless. Then she grabbed herself and spat on the floor. And I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, people are not outraged by this mockery of a sacred anthem. But yet still, they are upset when a group of athletes are taking a knee to symbolize the police brutality and the unfair treatment of African Americans in this country. People are upset about that, but a person who would mock the national anthem by singing it wrong is considered to be, oh, she's just joking. There's a double standard in this country, a dangerous double standard in this country, where people are not looking at character, but they are looking at race. I guarantee you, if it was a group of Caucasian athletes that were taking the knee, this would have been a different story. I guarantee you it would have been a different story. But the standards are so unfair and unbalanced that a Caucasian can do the same thing an African American do, but the results will be quite different. We need to change what's accepted. In Proverbs 6, the Bible talks about a couple of things that the Lord hates. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, a hand and hands that shed innocent blood, the heart of that devise wicked plans, feet that make haste to run into evil, false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord among brothers. We have to get to a point where the things that are accepted in society becomes a nuisance to you. We have to get to a point where we have to say to ourselves that we're not going to just sit back and accept this type of behavior. I remember I did this last week. I was posting all types of stuff on my Facebook just to see what kind of reaction I would get so I can understand why people think the way they think. And I saw people defend the things that are simply just wrong. It is wrong for three grown men with badges to beat up on a girl who is 19 that weighs about 120 something pounds. There was another video. It is wrong for an officer to step to a person as if they are on the streets and they are about to fight. Because you, sir, have a weapon, several weapons at that. You have the law on your side. You are not part of the streets anymore. Even if you were part of the streets, let's say you used to run the streets and everything like that, and now you're an officer. Yeah, you have to switch that. You are a civil servant, a servant of the people. Your paycheck is paid from the taxpayers. So you don't have the right to believe that you are higher than other people because you have a badge. We have to stop making things acceptable in this country. The things that are just plain wrong. But we don't want to speak out towards it. We don't want to shake the boat. Yeah, these things have been happening for years. My grandparents have been experiencing racial tension in America. My grandparents were there when they got the hose sprayed on them. My grandparents weren't. My grandparents were. My grandparents was in the Caribbean. But people's grandparents had gone through the civil rights movement, had been told that they were monkeys, that they needed to get out of this country. And people still say that to this day. You're in my country. Get out of my country. You're not Native American, so therefore it's not your country. You're an occupant who don't pay rent. That's what you are. But it's unfortunate because now all of this is happening. All of the tension is rising again. For a time, the tension had, excuse me, has slowed down. But I knew as soon as we had an African American in the presidency, I knew that those racial tensions was going to grow. And over the past 8 years, it continued to grow and grow and grow and grow until it got to the point where it had nowhere else to go but to be funneled into one individual who's still back in the 1960s to where they can say whatever they want, do whatever they want. And because of their power, they would get away with whatever. Do you want to change the rhetoric? Do you want to change what's accepted? Do you want to make this a better place? A lot of people want to do that. A lot of people would like to do that. But unfortunately, Satan has other plans. He wants us to continue to lose focus, to lose sight of what's most important. Satan wants us to take a look at the things that does not draw us to God, but keeps us away from him. That's what Satan wants. But you can combat Satan. You can defeat Satan. You can stop Satan by simply saying and understanding this right here. Proverbs 15, verse 1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. this morning, have a soft word. Understand that anger is nothing more than fuel to a fire that's already raging out of control. But you can help put out parts of that fire by having a soft word, a civil tongue. You can help put out that fire. This morning, I hope you realize that hate is a strong word, but it should never become acceptable. Change what's accepted. We're going to do a roll call real quick. Sweetie Tweety, good to see you this morning. I am me, good to see you. Loyalty Guy, Ming K, good to see you. Melly Wade, blessings, good to see you. Sister Gibson, good to see you. My mother Marisol, good to see you as well. Let's pray. Father God, we want to thank you, Lord, for opening our minds and hearts to the word of today. Lord God, we have to change what's accepted, and we change that by showing love. Lord God, even though the world is filled with hate, Lord, we ask you that you will continue to give us the strength to look past that and to be drawn even closer to you. Father, we just want to thank you for allowing us this opportunity this morning to spend time in your word. We thank you, Lord, for your guidance, your mercy. We thank you, Lord, for giving us this opportunity this morning. Lord, we ask you to strengthen us and guide us. Bless our families, dear Lord. Bless the sick members of our family. Continue to heal them in their process. Father, I pray that you continue to be with Sweetie Tweety as she prepares for the morning of a great honor. We ask you, Lord, to give her strength, to help her, Lord, that she will continue to persevere. Father God, I pray that you will continue to be with each and every one of us. Continue to strengthen us, dear Lord, when we need it most, and continue to help us, that we may be drawn closer to you. Lord, we love you, we thank you in Christ's name. Amen. All right, guys, have a great day, have a blessed day, have a strong day. This afternoon, we may not be able to do our afternoon pick-me-upper. I'll be at a graduation. One of my pack funders is graduating, so I'll be at a graduation today. So continue to be blessed, everyone.